again. Back officially now. Took my glasses off too, so now we know we're live and in action. How is everyone today? If it's your morning, send a coffee emoji, and if it's your evening, send a cocktail emoji because it's Friday. So I'm going to invite John in straight away, just to make sure that everything is going to go smoothly. So, hi. And in the meantime, while I'm seeing if that request is going to work, I'm Nicole. I've been a digital nomad since 2019, or location independent remote worker, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of names for us now. And I'm with you today to talk to John Cavendish from Seller Candy, who I've heard is the Amazon whisperer for your business. And let's hope that he can come into the Instagram room today. We did a little test before, and everything was working fine then. But this app is a little bit temperamental, so thank you for being really patient. There we go. Keep requesting. Basically, keep requesting, and I'll keep accepting until this works. Hi.
It works.
It really works. Oh gosh, I shouldn't put my sound up. Okay, that's fine. How are you today?
Oh, great, thanks. Sorry about the light. I'm traveling at the moment in a villa with a bunch of friends, so the lighting is not phenomenal.
No worries. Where are you?
Nha Trang in Vietnam. Came for a
Oh,
wedding today.
amazing. That's like I lived in Vietnam for 2 years, and that's the only place that I didn't go to was Nha Trang. It's a massive beach area, right?
Mm. Yeah. Just one of my wife's friends, best friend's birthday, wedding. So we were all in the wedding ceremony at 7 o'clock this morning. So
Oh
I've been up for
my
a long time.
goodness. Are you partying on the weekend for the wedding as well?
Yeah. After this,
Okay.
we're going out in Nha Trang. So it's going to be good.
Where are you from? Your accent. Are you from
Nottingham.
America? You're from
Nottingham.
Oh,
Where are you from?
how embarrassing.
Where are you
I'm
from?
from Bristol.
Bristol. Yeah, well, you don't sound like you're that much from Bristol, just like I don't sound like I'm that much from Nottingham.
Yeah, everyone says this. The longer, because my boyfriend's American as well, so the longer that I spend with Americans, people keep saying my voice is sounding less British than it used to.
Less
Although I think it
British,
would have
yeah.
been.
Me too. I mean, obviously you thought I was an American, so something's going wrong there
Okay.
on my accent.
Okay, so thank you for being so patient for the sort of slow mess up earlier with the Instagram app. It's so temperamental sometimes. Let's go straight into it. Instead of going straight into Seller Candy, let's go back to kind of the beginning of your journey. What kind of inspired you to take the more entrepreneurial path?
Good question. I mean, I was an engineer, so I had nothing, no entrepreneurial background. None of my family ever had a business. But when I graduated and I started working, I was just unhappy, you know? And I feel like people make changes either because of pain or some cool aspirational future. And I was definitely I didn't like what I was doing and I wanted to do something, you know, I wanted freedom. And I was like, if I can make $2,000 a month on the internet, then I can go and live in Asia and do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I like definitely relate to that. That's exactly how I felt when I finished university and then I just couldn't. I decided basically to go to Vietnam and be a teacher, and I thought that was like a much better life than going into like a sort of 9 to 5 boring job, basically. But then, so what did that journey look like in the beginning for you then? So, because obviously what was the first thing that you did?
So, I mean, just because I was so unhappy being an engineer and like being like rented out, I was doing consulting to other companies. I was only 25. So I quit and I decided I was going to go contracting. So in the UK, contracting is to just basically do the same thing, rent yourself to a company, but rather than going through a company that pays you a salary, they just pay you a day rate. One of my friends.
Hi.
So yeah, so I went out, I quit, didn't have another job lined up. And luckily, because back then I didn't have much in savings at all, I got a contract with the same company I was at before, and it was paying me triple the money. So I thought more money would make me happy. And
Mhm.
yeah, the more money didn't make me
I
happy,
was
but
going
at
to
least I
ask, did it
saved
make
some
you
money.
happy?
I don't think after a certain amount, more money doesn't make any difference, but it definitely gave me the freedom to have some buffer and also some money to start something else. So I was listening to podcasts and trying to figure
Mhm.
out where else can you make money.
And what did you what conclusion did you come to in the beginning with that?
Well, I tried blogging, but I'm a
Hmm.
terrible writer. Um, I was listening to podcasts and trying to figure out like what would be a good way to do it, and I heard about
Hmm.
FBA. So it's the first thing I'd listened to, and I felt like as an engineer or as anyone who's like systematically minded, like I can see the steps. You saw something, you slap a label on it, send it to Amazon, it sells, you make $1 million. And I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, it's that easy. I'll do that. So I was following this guy. I bought a course, and then never looked back from there. I mean, luckily, one of my first few products did well, and it started doing well, and I started making a little bit of money.
What was the first product that you sold?
You shouldn't ask that. Nobody. I got some people that are super secretive about their products,
Oh,
but I sold
okay.
supplements. So I had a brand of
Ah.
supplements selling
Hmm.
on Amazon UK, and then we launched into Europe, and then we
Yeah.
did our first $1 million in revenue in about the first 18 months.
Wow, that's crazy.
But when I
Hmm.
left to come to Asia, it was like 6 months in, I was doing like 8 sales a day,
Hmm.
and there was no way I could live off this business. I just had savings, and I was like, my contract's ending, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to
Hmm.
DCBKK. DCBKK 2015.
Hmm. And so when you went to DC BKK 2015, was that after you had your e-commerce like with Amazon, or was that just before you started that?
It was about 6 months in. So I'd
Oh,
launched
okay.
in February, March. And
Hmm.
for anyone who's watching who doesn't know DC, so DC is the Dynamite Circle. It's like a really cool group of location independent entrepreneurs. I hear you can get next stands under the table for cheap. I'm joking.
If you chat to me.
um, that's really cool. It's the community where I met most of my closest friends now, still like 8 years later. And yeah, I was just making a little bit of money. I was sitting around my mastermind
Mhm.
table on the first day. We were all like, yeah, I think we can figure out how to make 2, 3K a month. And then all those people around that table now, I still know of like had $1 million exits or purchased businesses or got large teams. Like,
Mm.
anyone that works at something continuously for a long enough amount of time has some level of success, is my experience.
Yeah, definitely. Are you going this week? I think it's in like 2 weeks. Are you going then?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Week
Oh,
after next,
yeah. Oh, okay. I'll
I'll be
see
there. You going?
you. Yeah, yeah. My boyfriend. So yeah. I'll be there. Hmm.
Cool.
Um, so for anyone kind of who's just going into e-commerce or just going into the Amazon route
Hmm.
now, because I feel like there's I don't want to say saturated because I hate saying that because it's really not, I don't think. But what kind of advice would you give to them now as a newbie going in? Because there's so many people doing it now.
Yes. I mean, one share would be when I started in 2015, everyone
Mhm.
thought it was too late.
Mm.
So I was like, it's saturated. I should have got in at AS, they had a thing, a course called Amazing Selling Machine. They were like, everyone got in at ASM 1, it's now ASM 4. 4 is too late. Now it's ASM 17 or something like that. Um, Currently going on. So yeah, if you want to get in, you can get in. What I would say with things like Amazon is that you need a bigger budget now than when I
Mhm.
started. I started with £6,000, and everything was built from that. Now I would say you need proper guidance and probably 20 to $30,000 to make a
Mhm.
go of it,
Mhm.
realistically, for reordering, making sure it works. And it's not necessarily the easiest path to making money. Like
Mhm.
I've done the FBA thing, I've done agency work, I've got a productized service now, we're now doing VAs. It's not necessarily, if you had already had a professional skill, it's not the thing I would push people towards if I was talking to them or coaching them.
Mm.
It's it's monetizing their current skill set in a scalable way.
Mhm.
Whether it's social media or copywriting or anything like that. Like if you have a better skill set, if you've honed it over your professional career already, or I don't know, a few years already, then that's the quickest way to make money, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, so to kind of stick to what you know you're good at and to kind of run with that and put in the work for that, and that will equal the success?
Yeah, so business, I mean, business is like four verticals. Business is your product or service, finances, sales, and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So you got no money, then you need to do the product service by yourself and get going. Once you're making enough money, 3 to 5K a month, then you're making
Mm-hmm.
that. Then you can afford someone else to take that over and then start focusing on the other bits. And then 80% of your time should be focused on sales and marketing. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
spending 80% of your time on sales and marketing, that's how you'll make real money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just focusing on creating an amazing service, once it's good enough and once you're delivering the results to your clients, then you can scale up. And that's
Yeah.
my belief. That's my kind of model of how I grow things.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. I'm definitely going to be chatting to you, I think, next week, because I also do work for like an not so much e-commerce, but kind of similar. So I will definitely be chatting to you about that as well in depth.
Yeah, of course.
So when it comes to taking that path and choosing what to do, I think like one of the biggest things that people face is the fear of failure. And I think that actually that's like the biggest challenge that people have in their minds at any level in their career is just the fear of failing. And so would you be happy to tell your sort of your biggest business failure and what you learned from that?
Wow, so many, so many. Biggest as in most costly would be like when I didn't sell my business at the right time. Like I had a good buyer for my original supplement company, like 2.5 years in, $1 million offer, and it fell through last minute. And then after that, I kind of because I'd already started another business at that point, I took my eye off the ball. It slowly deteriorated the e-commerce business until I sold it like 3 years later for like 15% of the cost or 20% or whatever it was, like not much of the original.
Oh, wow.
Um, that was I guess, a big failure. But I think most of the failures, most of the stuff you beat yourself up about is stuff that you didn't do. At least for me, it's stuff that I didn't do. When something happens to us, then we're having a problem. It's great, isn't it? It's not great, but you're digging yourself out of the problem. It's not a problem. It's the fear of the vision of how you're going to screw it up is for me the worst bit. So I definitely had that like self-sabotage, fear of failure. And I think what I did for when I first started was I built something that was like a momentum machine. And what that means is, like for me, that means is for e-commerce, it's doing enough work to get it going. And then it kind of runs, it keeps going itself, and then you can work on it. Or if I'm starting a new business, I hire team members and then get their responsibilities in doing that. Now we have cash to start businesses, their responsibilities in doing that. And then I have to serve them and to make sure I'm doing this stuff to serve them, which means I can't self-sabotage because we have to feed their work.
Yeah, yeah. That's like
So,
the time.
sorry.
Oh no, carry on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was just going to say, you can hire somebody for $1,200, $1,200 a month, for example, through like one of our VA services or direct if you want to do all the hiring and recruiting stuff for like $500 to $1,000 a month. And you can get a competent professional to help you out and do things. And then it's great, you have a team.
Yeah, I always say success through collaboration because it's very hard to do it just by yourself, just you. You always need to have other people who are more expert, more organized, more knowledgeable
Organized.
about
More organized.
Yeah, more organized is like the key thing. And I feel like for entrepreneurs as well, organized is definitely a key thing because I feel like I think one of the challenges with entrepreneurs is the shiny object syndrome. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
When
Yes. I have a story about that.
that are like exciting and you can't like just jump from them. You sort of need someone who's organized to implement everything.
And you need self-discipline to give up the stuff that isn't going to be successful. Because that was my theme of 2021 was focus. Because I had the same problem. 2020, all this different stuff, none of them particularly successful because I was so spread between them and I didn't have operational teams in each one. Now we have operational teams. And I focused, I got rid of everything apart from the one thing in 2020, which was seller candy. And yeah, we grew like crazy. In like 2020, we went from like 30K a month, 28K a month to 75K a month or something like that in 12 months. And it was a great growth.
Are you talking pounds or dollars?
Oh, dollars, sorry.
Yeah.
I work in dollars now.
I know.
I must be American.
I work in dollars.
Must be an American. Until the USD collapses, then we'll all start using like Vietnamese dong.
Oh gosh, there will be millions and millions and millions.
Billions.
Yeah. So with Seller Candy then,
Mhm.
obviously that is ended up being your baby. How did that start, Seller Candy, and how did it evolve?
Mm. So, medium length story, not the long story, not the short story. I was doing supplements online. I started doing a lot of personal development. So I got
Mm.
super into Tony Robbins.
Mm.
You know Tony Robbins?
Yeah, of course,
Massive
yeah.
American guy. Super American. Jumping up and down, very American. And I thought I wouldn't like it. I'm too English. I don't like jumping up and down, don't like hugging people.
Mhm.
So I got super into it, changed my life. And during that process of doing all the events, I was like, I don't feel fulfilled from selling supplements on the internet.
Mm.
Like it doesn't feel like the most fulfilling thing in the world.
Mhm.
So what can I do to help people and have more impact and support people? So I started an agency, like an Amazon marketing agency, not Seller Candy. It was called Ecom DNA.
Mhm.
So then I had a new business, new model, never done any kind of agency work before. So I spent about 7 months failing, and then I got a sales coach. So I learned how to do sales,
Mhm.
and then realized I could actually be pretty good at it. Got pretty good at it. We started scaling, and it's like, I don't want to operate this business. It sucks.
Mhm.
Delivering this type of agency work is difficult because you're the strategist, and
Mhm.
this is very difficult. Also, not everyone can be successful in delivering on Amazon.
Mhm.
So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I had a trip to Bali, spent some time thinking about it,
Mhm.
and I decided to close it down as we were growing. So I sold all my clients,
Why? Why did
and
you
I
do that?
decided.
Was that for the sell or just what? Why would you do that?
So once you're out of, well, I mean, this is my point of view. Once you're out of
Mhm.
survival, so like I can survive. I've got some money in the bank. I'm not desperate to eat. I only want to work on infinitely scalable projects or scalable to a level that I'm happy with. You know, for
Mhm.
me, maybe that's 10 million or 20 million. For Elon Musk, maybe it's like if it's less than a billion, screw it, you know, or less than whatever.
Mhm.
So, or 100 billion. So I was like, well, thinking it deeply through to the end point was, well, if I'm not gonna be able to scale it, I might as well stop now, you know.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I made this and I'm gonna close it down. So I came back, talked to Andy, my girlfriend at the time, said I'm gonna close it down, and she was like, okay, cool. And then I realized, oh, I could monetize this. So I sold all the clients to another agency,
Mhm.
and actually, made I don't know 150 grand or something out over the next year just selling the clients. So that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I'd already started playing with Seller Candy. So
Mhm.
I'd heard about the productized service model, which is what it is. So anyone that's listening and thinking about ways of scaling an agency quickly, look up productized services because it's a way of taking a smaller scope of what a bigger agency does
Mhm.
and selling it over and over again, like a software, like an expensive software.
Mhm.
So we started the business, and again, everything's slow to get going. Um, but with Seller Candy, we can deliver an amazing outcome on a very small scope, and that small
Mhm.
scope is just Amazon seller support. So rather
Yeah.
than doing content creation and marketing and all of that stuff, we
Mhm.
just take away the pain of dealing with Amazon seller support. And
I've heard it's a
yeah,
real pain
we have,
for some
it's a
businesses.
real pain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. And we now have 69 people or something like that.
Mhm.
Whole operating team, and yeah, it's good. It's the best business I've ever run. Nice
Mhm.
people, good people.
And how big is your team for Seller Candy?
69, I think, the
Oh,
funniest
oh,
number,
sorry, I thought you meant
or
69.
75.
Sorry, I thought you meant 69 clients. Sorry, you said 69 in the team. Got it.
Yeah.
And what kind of business, what level of business uh, do they have to be before they can come to you for your services, would you say? Like
So
how big?
we say, yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
say not less than 25,000 a month on Amazon, but otherwise you're not going to get enough value from us.
Mm-hmm.
And we work a lot with agencies as well. So running the back end ops for agencies, for the people that buy businesses, for aggregators,
Mm-hmm.
for everyone really. But agencies are our biggest growth market because they're always breaking stuff, and we're a much more cost-effective solution for doing all this crap they don't want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And when you were sort of growing your business then with Seller Candy, and you mentioned that you with the last business before that
Mm.
it was a bit slow to begin with in for the first 7 months because then you got a sales coach and then honed your skills on that. What when it came to sales, what weren't you doing before that you then learned through a sales coach?
Yeah, very good question. Um, I just learned the sales process. So how to do sales and how to do higher ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the crash course in high ticket sales, in 30 seconds,
Mhm.
is sales are emotional. So there's two calls. You want to do high-tech sales, you do two calls. You do a discovery call and
Mhm.
a pitch call. Well, there's balloons coming
Yeah.
everywhere. What do I do?
Say where's the
Where are those
balloons?
balloons coming from? Did I do that? Maybe it's one of those things. I don't know. Discovery call and a pitch call.
Mhm.
Discovery call is they're making the emotional decision to buy from you, which
Mhm.
means they know, like, and trust you, and they understand that they think that you fully understand their business and their problem. And then the
Mhm.
second call is the logical call for
Mhm.
closing them and, like, giving the logical ammunition to make the emotional decision they've already made.
Mhm.
So yeah, I became much, much better at that. And these days I'm pretty good at that. Although I try and now train other people to sell because I don't want to be on sales calls at the
Mhm.
Asia time zone in the US. That's not my
Oh,
idea of freedom,
complete
calling the US every
opposite.
night.
Are you
Yeah.
usually based in Asia as well?
I live in Saigon.
Oh, you live in Saigon. Ah, amazing.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Ho
Yeah, I
Chi
love that.
Minh.
Awesome. And so you learn sales, but then also, which I'm going to get onto later with the VAs as well. Um, when you grow your business, I think there's like a difference between someone who is a fierce entrepreneur and then someone who can manage people well and who
Yes.
can actually grow their team and retain their team. And was that something that you felt like you had to learn, or did it come naturally to you?
Um, well, so there's a concept from the E-Myth, for, like, having three hats. It's also that Tony Robbins use it in their system. And there's, like, the entrepreneur hat, the manager leader hat, and the technician hat, or the artist. They call it artist or a technician.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that does the work, the person that leads the people and develops the people, or the entrepreneur who just tries to push it in that direction. And I would describe myself as not a good manager at all. Um,
Oh.
no, I mean, that's fine. I don't want to manage people. Managing people sucks. I want to lead people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and leadership is setting the vision, holding them accountable, and then finding the A players to manage the people. So,
Mm-hmm.
to be the managerial level. And for me, an A player is someone who's emotionally driven to succeed.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Maybe most people, people who emotionally need to succeed, or they'll have a breakdown. So they emotionally need to succeed. So you get those people work for you. You coach them, you look after them, and people stay working for you. They don't
Mm-hmm.
work for the business; they work for
Mm-hmm.
you. And if you're a good person to work for and you look after them, then they will stay about and look after the business just as much as you want them to.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely
Mm,
accurate, and it's accurate for me as well because
mm,
I don't have my own business. I work for other people,
mm,
but I love the people that I work
mm,
for. If it was a different business, I would still work for them,
mm,
and that's kind of how I feel about that because I think I saw something a while ago which was you spend most of your days with the people you work with,
mm.
so you should choose them wisely, just as you would choose your partners or choose your friends.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I love the people I work with.
Mm-hmm. So you have a new VA service
Mm.
that you're offering with Seller Candy. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure.
VA, for anyone that doesn't know, is virtual assistant.
Yes, a virtual assistant, which technically is anyone, anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, we're talking about the Philippines, where most of our people come from, because with Seller Candy, we hired like 150 people over the last 3 years, and obviously churned through some and interviewed hundreds, if not thousands. People had always asked me in the Amazon industry, like, do you do anything else apart from seller support? And I'd always said no, because focus was my number one term word for 2021. We don't do anything else. We just do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few months ago, I finally said, okay, we have an operational team. I have a CEO. It's for Seller Candy. Let's do the other stuff. So we're focusing on virtual assistants in any industry, starting with e-commerce, but it can be anything. And our differentiator is we focus on mindset.
Mm.
Like, have you worked with many Filipinos in the past?
I haven't actually, no.
All
Mm-mm.
right, cool. So there's the biggest difference in my opinion, for the Philippines and the West is mindset, which is a mixture of, communication, setting expectations,
Mm.
taking feedback, and that's can be a problem in the Philippines, to be honest, because it's a lot more of a face-based culture, or it can be, or a sensitive culture.
Mm.
So you talk the same way that you might accept feedback and be that's fine, you might really upset someone.
Mm.
So it's setting expectations on the VA side of no, this is just how people communicate. Nothing's wrong. This is just feedback. So that type of training, mindset training, and we're doing like a lot of the Tony Robbins style stuff, which I learned in the past,
That's awesome.
and applying that to, yeah, to training them up. So improving their lives, they can work from home,
Hmm.
work with amazing companies, and great for us because we make money,
Yeah,
which is always nice.
that's awesome. What's the benefits? I think like it's quite obvious, I think, but what are the benefits of a business having a VA?
I mean, VAs are team members. So I
Mm.
mean, technically you're virtual. We're all VAs. We're all
I know.
virtual
So this
people,
is,
virtual
yeah, the
employees. So I don't
terminology,
mean
yeah.
assistant, I mean employee. The
Hmm.
virtual employees, it's just the same as us.
Yeah.
If we're working for something else, we're just virtual employees.
Mhm.
So benefits are you don't have to do the work yourself, which is the
The
main
main
benefit.
benefit. I
I don't
think
want to
like
do all the work myself.
I think there's yeah, I was talking to a friend the other day about the term VA because I think
Mm,
it kind of when you say VA and it's virtual assistant, it makes it almost sound like quite robotic and quite
mm.
not this is going to sound really harsh, but it almost like dehumanizes a
Yeah,
little bit because
dehumanizing.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah. And I was thinking about, I was like, well, everyone who's online is technically a VA, like anyone who's helping, like yeah. um but so with that in mind, do you also train the employers, sorry, the business owners in how to manage VAs and in that kind of aspect as well? Like what's the best practices?
Yes. So just like we were talking about before, I
Mm.
believe relationship is the number one way to influence people, increase their amount of dedication, and also yeah, get the outcome you want.
Hmm.
So so yeah, we focus on integration. So between the VA and the VA and the client, or the employee and the client, we set up daily check-in calls for the first 2 weeks. They have agendas for those days to learn about the business, how they want to work, how they do the job, ask questions, and then record it and send back detailed notes to their employer so they can really integrate.
Yeah, that's
Um,
mhm.
yeah, and build the relationship really. It's integration, but it's really building the relationship.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important because I think sometimes, especially when you're working behind a laptop, I can imagine, I haven't experienced it myself, but I can imagine for other people, it can be very easy to forget that there's a human working for you and forget that you're part of a team that of individuals that have
Mm,
needs and wants and are motivated in different ways.
mm,
And I think for sometimes that can be difficult for other people sometimes to kind of grasp that when they're just working behind a laptop, I think, which maybe
yeah.
plays into why is that, I mean, I get anecdotally that there's a high turnover when it comes to VAs in other businesses. Is that accurate? Is there generally a high turnover with other businesses?
I think there can be. With
Mm.
Seller Candy, no,
No, yeah, yeah.
no. I mean, we have a turnover of people that don't make the cut or that aren't fully integrated into the system, or just people have issues.
Mm, yeah.
But no, I mean, I haven't experienced a high turnover with my team members,
It's
and that's
because
all
of their
about
focus on
looking after them.
relationship.
Yeah,
Mm,
and it's when you're starting out and you're like when I was younger,
mm.
because I feel old now, but like motivating, like it's always like, oh, you're not fast enough. But the reality is, it's all about communication and making them understand. It's not their job to keep up with us. It's our
Mm.
job to help them understand what needs to be done and when. And then if they can't do it after they've been told a few times, then that's a problem. But
Hmm.
I think it's all about being a little bit slower. I used to be very much like go, 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 adrenaline fueled.
Hmm. Yeah. So I heard on the grapevine that you use Nextstand quite a lot, or your team uses Nextstand.
Oh, what's my
Have you
next
noticed?
stand?
Oh, you have it with you? What Nextstand do you
Of course.
have? The K1 or the
Oh,
K2?
well, I don't know. You can tell me. I have this one.
I think that's the K.
What?
I think that's the K2. It's not the car. I think so. I think it's hard to tell on video.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got several neck stands. So- Not because I kept losing the clips, because I have more clips now, but also because I have one set up by my desk. So I have my,
Hmm.
my big monitor, and then I want my laptop next to it. So there's one permanently set up there, and that's kind of
Oh.
permanently installed. And then I have one in
Hmm.
my backpack for when I travel around. And
Oh,
soon I'm
amazing.
going to have a carbon fiber one that's going to be
Yes.
super
Yeah.
light and amazing to travel around with. So I'm just going to be juggling them.
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah. So the K1 is the carbon fiber one. So you have the K2 at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I buy them for my team. I give them to my friends. I mean,
Hmm.
I just it's they're great. And I originally got it because I couldn't buy one of your competitors. Well, probably it's a swear word to say their name in on the on the live, but I couldn't find it. I found next time. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, this is just as good.
Yeah. Hmm. And do you notice a difference with working more ergonomically? Like when you compare your remote work to your office work
Mm.
from years ago, I feel like there's such a difference because we work in so many different ways. We work from like the
Mm.
sofa, we work from like the desk, we work
Yeah,
from buses. And
you're working on buses.
I know some, yeah. I'm a writer, so I can I write from anywhere. But have you noticed a difference in sort of your aches and pains from using neck stand and working ergonomically in that fashion?
Have you been? Are you on a bus with a neck stand all set up, like on a table and like full setup?
No, but I have had my laptop out in front of me and like working
Yeah,
honestly on
that's
a coach
normal.
to London before.
Yeah, that's normal. I just want just like a full setup.
I think then
Keyboard, mouse,
I
like
follow
wired
I
mechanical
follow
keyboard.
I follow an Instagram page called
Mm,
Consulting Humor, I think, and
mm.
they call it "Please Fix Me," like hashtag "Please Fix" or something like that. When you get like a last minute request from a manager and you have to like
Yeah.
just do it wherever you are. So yeah, buses have been. I've done that sometimes years ago.
Yes. But in answer to your question, no, yeah, I always use, I mean, I use it a lot when I'm traveling. So if I'm around the house, I quite like different positions sometimes, like not using the stand all the time. But when I travel, I always take it. I
Mm.
mean, especially for this, obviously we have to be on phones right now, which kind of sucks. But otherwise, for video calls, you want eye level, you want eye level camera. So I just, even with that, that's one amazing thing. And
Hmm.
then you just need a good keyboard, good mouse. I use Logitech, like MX Anywhere keyboard,
Hmm.
an MX Mini keyboard, and a MX 3S mouse or whatever. And it's great. That's my preferred setup. Anyone wants to take it? Um, oh, and then something to use your phone as a webcam if you want like a really, really high quality picture. One of those either stands for the MacBook or a selfie stand so you can stand it behind and have like super high
Yeah,
quality webcam.
I have one. I have like a small one at the moment that's got my
Mm.
phone on set up, and it's just like always super handy. Otherwise, I would look. Yeah, it would be like down here somewhere.
Right down here,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, like that.
Hello.
Yeah, kind of looks like yeah. So when it comes to traveling, then do you travel a lot? Would you say you're a fast traveler or a slow traveler?
Good question. I would have said I was a slow traveler before, but now it's weird. So this year,
Hmm.
I went to Europe. So it's supposed to be like I've been to the US a couple of times. I went to Europe for a 5 week trip, like traveling around Europe, and then I had an accident, broke my back, didn't move for like two and a
So
half months.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, it sucked, but now I'm better, mostly.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the last month, I've spent like a week in the Philippines, a week in Singapore, a few days back in the Philippines, Taipei for DCX Taipei, Bangkok in
Ah.
a week and a half, then went to
Hmm.
the US for 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm traveling around a lot, but it's kind of for work, but I'm making excuses because I don't need to travel for work. I can work from anywhere. It's more like it's an expense for work, and it's just for fun to see people, to
Yeah, well,
connect, to not
it's
be
like a
stuck behind my desk.
migration. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
migration, isn't it? I feel like for remote workers and digital nomads and location independent people, there's so many names that we have.
yeah,
I feel like we migrate. So like, especially when it comes to the DC as well, I think I find like people have their summers in Europe and then it comes back to Asia to the Bangkok and then
yeah.
Chiang Mai and kind of like follows around that way. So yeah, so you are kind of like you are a fast traveler then.
I guess like I live in Saigon,
Mm.
so now that's home. I was there 9 months a year, and then the rest, the other 3 months, I'm traveling
Oh,
around.
that's lovely. Actually, that's a really good balance, actually, because you have your
Yeah.
base and then just for a few months of the year you just take off, which is an amazing
Mm.
balance. Actually, that's kind of what I would like at some point. I haven't chosen where to base myself yet. That's my problem. There's too many options. But
Yeah.
how do you balance then work and travel?
I mean, work. I work too much in general.
Hmm.
So I balance is I usually work too much. Um, but I have a really good setup at home now.
Hmm.
So, living somewhere 9 months a year allows you to invest more, I believe, in the place you live. So as in
Hmm.
invest like in decorating it or living in a cool ass place, especially if you're in Asia, we rent like a villa for the same price that you'd pay for a studio in London.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
so it's great, so that's great. Um, yeah, and then just have an understanding partner who you travel with, who doesn't mind you working during the day sometimes, and
Hmm.
have an assistant VA, get an amazing EA, like an executive assistant who can then block your time and be like, I don't want to work these days, and she'll just, or he'll just move things around, and then I have 3 days.
And I suppose as well, because I think back home in the UK, people always, or people who are, in sort of more normal 9 to 5 jobs, they find it hard to
Normies.
understand the. I hate saying that, but they find it hard to understand that we do actually like working. So it's really
Mm.
hard to, because we don't like, for instance, for me, I don't see it as work. It's just kind of blends in with my life.
Mm.
And it's something that I want to do. And I feel like that's the same as you, like you said, like maybe you overwork, but in your mind you're not overworking. Maybe to other people it seems like you're overworking, or to society it seems like you overwork, but really you're just following your passion.
Oh, for sure. Society. You seen Into the Wild? Society, man.
It's still
Reject
society.
society. Yeah.
Well, do you have any exciting projects coming up or destinations that you're going to you haven't been before?
Hmm. I'm going to Bangkok. There's a really cool event in Bangkok in a week and a half. So if anyone
Yeah,
is watching who can make it,
let's
they
stop
should come to
plugging it.
this. Join the Dynamite Circle. You should plug that.
Get an extend. Get an extend
Get
as well.
get two
Get
next
two next
stands.
extends. Hmm.
One for you, one for your friends. Um, what else? Anything I'm excited about? Well, Magnet, of course, Magnet Virtual Assistants. You check that out. It's magnetva.com.
Hmm.
Um, that's what
I'm gonna
I'm
check it.
excited about. I'm also doing some like business mentorship, business coaching,
Oh,
which I'm
cool.
just enjoying for fun
Yeah, yeah.
because that's what I actually enjoy. Because as I've got better, as we all learn more, I feel like there's leverage with others is
Mm.
so much better than just yourself. If you can help other people get leverage, then the leverage just spreads out, bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. No,
Um,
definitely, definitely. Hmm.
that's it. So yeah, that's it. What about you? What are
But
you excited about?
me, exciting projects. There's a few things. So I work for Nextstand, obviously, and then I work for another person in the DC
Mm.
actually as well. And I have like a personal project that I keep quite quiet.
So you're not
But
going to announce it right now?
no, I'm not going to announce it right now.
Okay,
No,
I'll ask you next week.
no. I'm shy. I'm shy. I'm still working on it. But yeah. In terms of destinations, though. Am I going? Oh, I'm going back to Vietnam actually. I haven't been to, so I did Vietnam again last year, which was fun, but
Mm.
I'm going back to Hoi An and Da Nang, and I haven't been there since pre-pandemic.
Mm.
So I'm excited. I'm actually super excited to go back there because that country kind of feels like home to me.
Mm.
I think just because I spent 2 years in Hanoi, which was kind of like a
Mm.
hard city to do that in anyway.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like I love Hanoi. I have such like I know it's like a busy, chaotic mess, but I love the chaos.
Yeah,
So
I love Vietnam.
yeah, I do. I think everyone who goes there has a soft spot for it. It's a
Mm.
very special country, I think.
Yeah, well, come by Saigon as well. We'll all go out.
Oh well,
It'll be fun.
I'll see
And
you
I'll show
in
you the cool
Bangkok. Well,
parts of
actually,
Saigon.
see you in Bangkok next week.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of everything. Is there so your VA service is magnet.va. That's
Magnetva.com.
magnetva.com. And how can people get in touch if they want to ask, inquire about business, inquire about any help at all, any information? How can they get in
Cool.
touch with you?
I'll drop me an email at probably my Seller Candy email is best. That's
Mhm.
john@sellercandy.com. Like seller, like you're selling things, candy, like candy.com
Just to
with
be
an
clear.
H. John with an H. I don't know, but sometimes you say things quickly and everyone's like, what was that the entire time? Selling
Hmm.
candy. Does he sell candy? But yeah, John Cavendish. You can find me online.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, that is kind of the end of our chat. It's been so fun as well talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
I'm excited to meet you in person. I don't, apologies if we have actually met before. There were so many people last year and some, faces will blend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I am terrible at people coming up to me, and it depends also who's seen you on socials, doesn't it? So if
Yeah.
someone follows you on socials, they'll come up to you like, "Oh, John, I've seen all this," and I'll be like, for like, I haven't seen them in 3 years. My brain is like, kind of catch up
Yeah.
with who they
Oh,
are, like
I've had
Taipei last
embarrassing
week.
moments before where there'll be some, you know, like on Instagram or on social media, you get like the suggesteds come up.
Yeah.
So it's like the same face comes up all the time. And if you see it enough, and then you see them in person, you accidentally forget that you haven't actually met them before. And so it's happened to me before where I've been talking to someone. I'm like, we've met before, haven't we? And they're like, no, we definitely haven't. I'm like, no, I think we have met. And then I remember, oh no, you
You've
were
been
just on.
socially stalking all their pictures. Yeah. Your profile picture 4.5 years ago was amazing, wasn't it?
That's embarrassing. So yeah, so it's been really good chatting to you. Thank you to everyone who's watching, and we'll post this up again with all the links as well. That'll be really useful. So yeah, thank you, John, and I hope you have a nice day where you are. Is it Thailand you said? No, Nha Trang, Nha Trang.
Nha Trang, Vietnam. So we're
Yeah,
going out
yeah.
to celebrate the wedding.
Oh yeah.
I think there's some
Yes.
cocktail bar
Okay.
in Nha Trang.
Yeah, well, have fun with everyone, and have a really good weekend, and have a good weekend to everyone else. And I will catch you later.
See you later.
Bye.